The story shifts to Japan, where an unnatural phenomenon is occurring. People are staring at the sky in confusion, unsure of what's happening as they witness a gigantic red gate ominously looming above. Elsewhere, people are discussing the sudden appearance of the red gate and the alarming rise in high-level gates throughout the country. They mention that due to the current crisis in Japan, all major guilds have been summoned for an emergency meeting to determine their next move. After losing 7 of their S-rank hunters, including Goto Ryuji during the Jeju Island raid, they no longer have the manpower to respond effectively. As the conversation continues, the remaining S-rank members of the Draw Sword Guild are seen walking toward the conference room. Observing them, some individuals comment on how President Matsumoto of the Japanese Hunters Association is reaching his limit after the loss of Goto. They note that since the association once held a monopoly on S-rank hunters, it's satisfying to see them struggle. They speculate that with the few powerful hunters they have left, the guild might soon lose its position as the top guild in Japan. Sugimoto overhears their remarks, stops, and glares at them with a death stare, causing the men to back off in fear. After they leave, Minoru remarks to Sugimoto that those people weren't nearly as bold before, but now that Mr. Goto is gone, they're starting to act up again. Kane adds that there's a rumor circulating the Black Tiger Guild and the Snowcloud Guild are planning to merge, and the combined number of S-rank hunters in those 2 guilds would be 4, the same as theirs. Unfazed, Sugimoto replies that there's no need to worry. Despite having S-rank hunters, those guilds are still weak and lacking in real strength. Inside a government meeting room, a man angrily yells at the officials, demanding answers as to why the Hunters Association hasn't responded to the S-rank gate that appeared in the middle of Tokyo. He asks if they still haven't come up with a plan and expresses fear about the consequences of a dungeon break. Matsumoto Shigeo, chairman of the Japanese Hunters Association, explains that their current S-rank hunters aren't capable of handling an S-rank gate, not unless they enlist the help of national-level hunters. Another official counters, saying that asking such obvious questions is pointless. Everyone saw the terrifying power of the monsters from an S-rank gate during the Jeju Island raid, where they lost most of their top-ranked hunters, including one who was said to be on the verge of becoming a national-level hunter. He warns that attempting to clear another S-rank dungeon without national-level support could lead to similar losses. Someone suggests contacting Thomas Andre, the American national-level hunter, but it's revealed that Japan lacks the funding to hire someone of his caliber. Furthermore, due to the global increase in gates, every country is recruiting mercenary hunters for their own needs, leaving Japan with no external options. As the room grows tense, Sugimoto speaks up and mentions someone who might be willing to help for the right price, a mysterious figure known as the barrier expert, Yuri Orlov. The scene shifts to Jin-Woo sitting in his car. Inside, he thinks to himself, I can't believe I'm level 101 now. At level 100, he received the key to the Kartinon Temple, and at level 101, all of his job-specific skills leveled up. I can't wait to see what happens at level 102, he thinks. As he gets out of the car, he notices someone in the parking lot. It's Hunter Cha Hae-in. Upon seeing Jin-Woo, she quickly turns and starts walking away. In a blink, Jin-Woo appears right next to her and asks, "Why did you start running when you saw me?" "Oh, and if you were going to run, why come to my office in the first place?" Flustered, Hunter Cha stumbles over her words and points toward a spot in the lot, saying her car is still parked there. Jin-Woo realizes she wasn't able to take it last time because they used Shadow Exchange to teleport to the gymnasium. Hunter Cha then asks if he has time to talk. Jin-Woo asks what she wants to discuss. In her mind, she recalls the photo she saw of him with Lee Joo-hee and wonders why he chose Ju-hee over her, even though she herself is an S-rank hunter. She wants to know if they're dating, but instead of voicing her feelings, she suppresses them and says, "Hunter Min Byung-gu asked me to give you a message. It's about his power." That catches Jin-Woo's attention, as he's been looking for answers about that as well. He stops and says, "Let's continue this conversation somewhere private." They arrive at the office and Cha asks why it's so empty. Jin-Woo tells her that the Vice Guildmaster, Yu Jin-ho, stayed behind at the dungeon site. Hearing this, Cha blushes, realizing she's alone with Jin-Woo. Jin-Woo asks how Min Byung-gu was able to leave a message with her. She begins to explain a vision she had while unconscious on Jeju Island. She tells him she was drifting in darkness when a hand reached out and pulled her up. It was Min Byung. He told her that his power was overwhelming and terrifying, something Jin-Woo needed to understand. He tried to tell her about Jin-Woo's true army, but disappeared before he could say more. We later see Jin-Woo sitting inside a dungeon, thinking deeply about what Cha told him. True or not, he thinks, I need to discover the source of my power. That's more important than just getting stronger. Sitting next to him is Jin-ho, who asks, "Your summons can move on their own, so why do we have to go with them? Why not let them handle it while we relax?" Jin-Woo replies, "I can't always trust those idiots when I'm not watching them." Jin-ho then asks about Jin-Woo's sister. Jin-Woo says she's doing well after the dungeon break at her school, but doctors recommended she rest, so he stationed his most trustworthy shadows by her side for protection. He decides to check on her using shadow vision, a skill that lets him see through the eyes of his summons. Viewing through Boo's perspective, he sees Boo lounging and watching TV while Jin-ah is asleep on the couch. Jin-Woo sighs and thinks, I should have known. Is that really the kind of show Boo likes? He then checks on the rest of his shadows. First, he sees his mother shopping for groceries, then Hunter Bak Yoon-ho and Hunter Choi Jong-in bickering as usual. After that, he shifts his focus to Hunter Cha, only to see her in the shower. Startled, he immediately stops using the ability. Jin-ho, sitting nearby, asks, "Did you fall asleep?" But Jin-Woo is slightly embarrassed and deep in thought. I better apologize to her, he thinks. Maybe I should buy her lunch sometime. Meanwhile, Jin-ho tells him about a new issue. An S-rank gate has appeared in Shinjuku, Japan, and there are less than 3 days left before a dungeon break. The Japanese government is urgently summoning hunters from all over. Jin-ho asks if they contacted Jin-Woo. He replies that they did, but he's considering something more pressing right now. Suddenly, the dungeon they're in begins to rumble, prompting them to prepare to leave. Scene shifts to Japan, where Yuri Orlov, a national-level hunter from Russia, introduces himself to Sugimoto, a Japanese official. He boasts, "I am the greatest support-type hunter in the world." He continues mockingly, "I read the report from the Short Sword Guild. It was a good decision to evacuate the civilians." But is it true Japan could only spare 6 S-rank hunters for this operation? Swordie Sugimoto confirms, due to the appearance of multiple A-rank gates across the country, each guild was forced to leave at least 1 S-rank hunter behind to protect their own territories. Even their guild is leaving 1 behind, while 3 others join the Shinjuku mission. Hearing this, Orlov scoffs, "Pathetic! How can you protect your country like this?" Then adds, "I'll hold back the gate for you as long as you want. My fee? $3.6 billion a year, 10 million a day." Shocked, Sugimoto asks, "You're seriously charging that much?" Yuri smirks. "Compared to Thomas Andre, who's asking for 36 trillion, I'm a bargain." Minoru, one of the Japanese hunters, turns to Kaki and asks what the drunk is saying. Kaki, who knows Russian, replies, I'm not entirely sure, but I can tell it's nothing good. Yuri then says bluntly, "Are you trying to save your country or save your money?" He insults the other Japanese hunters nearby, prompting Minoru to step forward and ask, "Did he just insult us?" Kaki replies, "I didn't understand the words, but the meaning was clear enough." Suddenly they find themselves trapped inside a magical barrier, unable to move. Yuri calmly says, "You won't be able to take a single step without my permission." Minoru struggles and wonders how an S-rank hunter like him could be restrained so easily. With a smug grin, Yuri turns back to Sugimoto and says, "I'll stop your S-rank gate. I'll even let them go free of charge. How about that?" Sugimoto, left with no better option, reluctantly agrees. "I've confirmed your abilities, but I need to make a call first." Back in Korea, we see Jin-Woo getting ready to enter the double dungeon. His mother gently asks, "Your mother doesn't have to worry about anything, right?" Jin-Woo smiles and reassures her, "Don't worry, I just have an appointment." Once the timer on the key runs out, its destination is revealed, the gate's location, Jinnar's school. Jin-Woo quickly heads there. Upon arrival, he spots several Hunter Association agents standing guard outside the gate. He walks up to them and asks, "How long has this gate been here?" "Oops," one of the agents replies, 3 days. "It's just a C-rank gate. A Hunter assault squad entered it about 2 hours ago." Jin-Woo immediately tells them, "You need to call them back. They're in danger. If they stay inside, they'll die." Without wasting time, he begins to enter the gate. "I'll return with the assault squad." Meanwhile, the assault squad has already made their way through the dungeon. They come to a halt in front of the boss room, but the door is locked. They try everything, including magic, but nothing works. As they're discussing what to do next, a voice calls out from behind them, "It's a trap." Startled, the squad turns around to find Jin-Woo standing there. Suspicious, they ask, "Who are you? What are you doing in this dungeon?" Jin-Woo calmly answers, "I'm a survivor of a double dungeon." One of the hunters suddenly recognizes him. "Wait, are you the new S-rank hunter of Korea?" Jin-Woo nods and tells them, "This place is extremely dangerous. You all need to leave. I'll handle things from here." He approaches the door and sees a system notification. "The gate to the Karten Temple is currently locked. Please insert the key." Jin-Woo takes out the temple key, thinking to himself, "This is different from the last time." As the door opens, the other hunters stare in disbelief. "How did he open it? It wouldn't even budge for us." One of them steps forward and says, "This dungeon was purchased by the Dragon Guild. It's their property. You have no right to order us around." The others echo similar thoughts. Jin-Woo replies firmly, "I won't stop you. Anyone who wishes to enter the gate, please feel free to enter." One of the hunters steps forward and enters the room. Instantly, Jin-Woo receives a system alert. An individual without the temple key has entered. Access denied. Suddenly, a stone statue comes to life and swings its massive sword toward the intruder. Just in time, Jin-Woo grabs the hunter from behind and pulls him out of the room, saving his life. He looks at them all and says, "Every monster in this dungeon is like that. Are you still willing to enter?" Turning back toward the gate, Jin-Woo instructs the squad, "Contact the Hunter Association immediately. Tell them a double dungeon has appeared." With that, he enters the boss room alone. The door slams shut behind him, sealing him in. As he steps inside, the room begins to light up. Dozens of stone statues stand silently around him, casting long shadows. Among them, a winged statue holds a stone slab with inscriptions. At the center of the room, an entity sits motionless, surrounded by the statues. Jin-Woo steps forward and speaks to himself. "This is where it all began." "I've returned. but it feels different now. I can feel it in my bones. Looking at the statues, he says, "These aren't monsters, nor are they living beings. They're just puppets. Puppets controlled by something or someone. There's only one source of magic in the room." He walks toward it and asks, "Won't you say anything? Why won't you answer me?" Suddenly the winged statue comes to life and says, "At last you have arrived."
As Jin-Woo steps into the mysterious double dungeon, he mutters to himself, "This is where everything began. I've returned, but something feels different this time." Examining the imposing stone statues, he notes, "These aren't monsters, nor are they living. They're puppets, being controlled by something or someone." Sensing only one magical presence, he walks toward it and demands, "Won't you say anything? Why are you silent?" Suddenly the winged statue stirs and replies, "At last, you've arrived." Meanwhile, in Japan, Yuri Orlov lands at the airport and is immediately surrounded by reporters. When asked how he plans to contain the gate, he calmly explains, "I'll use the same method as before, a massive magic circle to absorb ambient mana and seal the gate. Mana crystals placed around Tokyo will strengthen the circle, eventually solidifying it into a barrier." When questioned about sealing an S-rank gate alone, he admits, "No, I can't maintain it on my own. But the magic circle will draw power from the crystals. It will grow stronger over time." Facing the cameras, he declares, "I'm going to protect this city. Make sure you remember that." Watching the broadcast, Chairman Go Gun-hee comments, "I don't know if he can hold back an S-rank gate, but I do know what happens if he fails." Turning to Woo Jin-chul, he asks about Hunter Sung Jin-Woo's status. Woo reports that Jin-Woo is currently clearing dungeons in Seoul, and that a Jin guild has requested permits to raid several gates, though those gates lie in rival guild territories, which could spark conflict. Still, the chairman approves the permits. Back in Seoul, Woo Jin-chul steps out to take a call. The caller informs him of another gate, this one appearing at a school previously attacked by orcs. While it seems minor at first, a double dungeon has been discovered within it. More importantly, Jin-Woo has already entered. Inside the double dungeon, the winged statue shatters a stone slab and announces, "You've finally made it." Jin-Woo asks, "Was it okay to destroy that? Were you the one who brought me here?" The entity responds cryptically, "You're asking the wrong questions. Instead of wondering who I am, you should ask, 'Who are you?'" It then declares, "The final trial begins now. If you're still standing when it ends, I'll tell you everything." Suddenly, all the stone statues begin to move. Jin-Woo prepares to summon his shadow army, but the entity snaps its fingers. "No shortcuts. This test is for you alone. Your summons won't help you here." A system notification appears. You can no longer use potions or shop items. You cannot rely on quest rewards or level up healing. Escape is impossible until the test ends. Jin-Woo clenches his fists. So that's how it is. As one of the statues attacks, he grabs its weapon mid-swing and breaks it with raw power. He hurls the blade fragment into its face. The statue tries to recover, but Jin-Woo kicks it, driving the shard deeper. The other statues charge, but Jin-Woo moves like lightning. He dodges, leaps, and strikes one through the head. An archer statue releases an arrow, but Jin-Woo slices it in midair and kicks a piece of it back, destroying the archer's face. He thinks to himself, "I've waited for this moment." The winged entity watches with interest. What extraordinary growth for a mere human. As the battle continues, Jin-Woo notices something. They seemed like they were teleporting before, but now I can see their movements. But suddenly, the ground shakes. A massive stone giant steps forward. Even the entity seems intrigued. Elsewhere in the chairman's office, Chairman Go is reviewing documents. A Japanese envoy offers full rights to Jeju Island's essence stones, in exchange for one meeting with Jin-Woo. Go, surprised, asks, "Why go this far?" He suspects it's because Japan no longer has a hunter strong enough to contain the Tokyo Gate since Goto Ryuji's death. Once the interpreters leave, Chairman Go speaks fluent Japanese, stunning Matsumoto. He warns, "If this is another one of your tricks, end it now." Matsumoto is shocked. Go reveals that the Blade Guild has cut ties with the Japanese Association. He accuses Matsumoto of losing control and warns, "If that gate bursts open, the consequences will be yours to bear." He pulls out a listening device, originally used by Goto's team, and smashes it. "I won't let one man's schemes plunge a nation into chaos. You'll owe your survival to Hunter Jin-Woo." Back in the dungeon, Jin-Woo battles the towering stone giant. He lifts statues with Commander's touch to create a shield, but a magical beam obliterates it. "I won't survive a direct hit," he thinks. He sprints toward the giant, dodging its massive stomp. The statue charges another attack, but Jin-Woo activates Monarch's domain and uses Ruler's authority to manipulate gravity, attacking its weak points with his Demon King daggers. They barely scratch it. Frustrated, he channels brute strength into one concentrated strike, splitting a crack in its head. The entity watching chuckles. "I didn't expect him to go that far." Jin-Woo screams, "Let me show you what it means to be level 103. With one final punch, he smashes the giant into the ground. He then turns on the remaining statues, using Dominator's touch to crush them all. The entity hovers down. "That was remarkable. But the test isn't over." A notification appears. Urgent quest. Defeat the final enemy within 10 minutes. Failure will result in cardiac arrest. The winged being speaks, "I am your final test." Jin-Woo asks, "Who are you, really?" With a smile it answers, "I am the architect of the system." Outside, Wu Jin-Chul and elite hunters arrive. The mana radiating from the gate is terrifying. "This isn't Jin-Woo's energy, so whose is it?" asks Che Hei-in. Inside, the true battle begins. The architect transforms, its wings expand, and it rushes Jin-Woo, landing a blow that sends him crashing into a wall. The fight intensifies. Jin-Woo dodges, blocks, and finally lands a devastating counterattack. The architect is impressed. "You're exceeding all expectations. I didn't think a human could challenge me." Jin-Woo thinks, "He summoned me here after I hit level 100, thinking I wouldn't survive. But I will." He asks, "Why did you create the system?" "Why me? What's happening to the world?" The architect attacks again. Jin-Woo keeps his distance, trying to use ranged skills, but the architect counters them effortlessly. The architect grins, "Whether I live or not, the truth has already been written." Weapons in the room float and launch toward Jin-Woo. He demands, "How could you give me so much power?" "I didn't choose you," the architect replies. "I was against it. I'm just the designer, not the selector." With only 6 minutes left, Jin-Woo makes a choice. No more holding back. The architect powers up. Jin-Woo dodges and counters with precise strikes. His speed increases. He slices off the architect's arm. "So, that's why he was chosen," the architect realizes. Enraged, the architect resurrects all the fallen statues. Jin-Woo rushes into battle, using Ruler's authority to crush them. A massive statue reappears, the one that once nearly killed him. Jin-Woo smashes it apart. With 2 minutes left, he focuses everything on one final blow. The room explodes with power. As the dust settles, Jin-Woo stands victorious. The architect whispers, "The answers lie within you. Data stored in your memory will now be retrieved." Jin-Woo chooses to accept. Light surrounds him, and he's teleported into another plane, in spirit form. Below him, an army of monsters, goblins, giants, ice elves, and orcs, all staring up toward a massive gate in the sky. This isn't Earth, Jin-Woo realizes. Suddenly, angelic warriors descend from the heavens, the Silver Soldiers. War erupts between light and darkness. The Silver Soldiers dominate at first, until a shadowy figure emerges. It raises the fallen monsters using a power Jin-Woo knows well: shadow extraction. The Shadow Monarch. An army of death rises again. Jin-Woo is overwhelmed. The battlefield turns chaotic. The Shadow Army now holds the advantage, each fallen foe returning stronger. Dominion's authority is used effortlessly by the monarch, carving through silver ranks. Just as the battle turns toward the Shadow Monarch's favor, they arrive. Back in the dungeon, Woo Jin-Chul, Chae Ha-in, and Cho Jong-in enter the chamber. What they find stuns them: shattered statues, broken stone soldiers, and a power unlike anything they've ever felt. Woo Jin-Chul mutters under his breath, disbelief trembling in his voice. It's all true. The statues, the sculptures, they really exist. As the hunters glance around the eerie dungeon, a cold, disembodied voice echoes. I don't recall inviting humans here. What an unexpected surprise. Startled, they freeze. Did the monster just speak? A figure steps forward, the architect, regal, ominous, and merciless. Silence, he commands. How dare you disturb the king's slumber? The hunters exchange worried glances. The king? They look to the corner, and there he stands. Still. Silent. Sung Jin-Woo. Bloodshed and betrayal. Suddenly chaos erupts. The architect speeds through the group, slashing down several hunters like paper dolls. You strong humans, he growls, will make excellent offerings to the king. Meanwhile, in Jin-Woo's vision, another world begins to unfold. Portals tear open across the sky. Out march monstrous armies. The monarchs have arrived. Querisa, the plague monarch. Baran, the demon king. Rekan, the beast monarch. And more, Rokan, Yogamont, Leah. Among them, a colossal wolf. The beast monarch has come. They stop, kneeling before one being, the Shadow Monarch. And thus, the final war begins. Back in the double dungeon, the hunters are on the brink of collapse. The architect unleashes stone statues like puppets of doom. Cho Jong-in yells, "Use everything you've got! Move the injured back!" But the architect watches coldly. Once my puppets are done, anyone still breathing will have the honor of witnessing the king's birth. A massive stone statue charges. Cho rolls to the side and retaliates with a fireball, right in the face. "Attack now!" he shouts. The others move in. Woo Jin-Chul delivers a punch, but nothing happens. Even Choi's magic fails. Panic sets in. Our attacks aren't working. They realize there's only one hope: wake Jin-Woo. Risking it all to awaken Jin-Woo, Choi makes a bold choice. We have no time. If he's under hypnosis, we have to wake him up, now. He hurls a fireball directly at Jin-Woo. But before it can reach him, the architect intercepts it. Furious, with blinding speed, he lunges at Choi. Choi stands frozen. Is this how it ends? But the others rush in, buying him time. Meanwhile, Jin-Woo remains trapped, inside the vision of war. Jin-Woo, still trapped in his vision, watches a brutal battle unfold before his eyes. The Shadow Army clashing with the demon clans regenerates endlessly. He thinks to himself, if these were my soldiers, I'd run out of mana long ago. But he's not like them. His mana is limitless. Jin-Woo ponders. Was the Shadow Monarch on the same side as the monsters? Or was there a deeper conflict? Betrayal unveiled. After the battle, silence falls. The Shadow Monarch approaches the fallen demon leader. We had a chance to end this war today. Why did you betray me? The demon's cryptic response. Too bad I couldn't get rid of you. And then the revelation. The leader is Baron, the demon king. Jin-Woo is left stunned. What, Baron? Was it always me? His heart races. Something's wrong with his body. He discovers he has two hearts, a normal one and a black one. The architect strikes again. Back in the dungeon, the architect mocks Jin-Woo's ability to control himself despite the black heart. You're not the king. How are you still standing? But Jin-Woo, now awake, demands, what have you done to my body? Suddenly, Jin-Woo crushes the architect's face underfoot. The architect's last words are a prophecy. When the pillars of fire rise, death will come for you. But Jin-Woo, with a cold smirk, responds, "As you please." Destruction and control. The battle escalates as the statues come to life, wreaking havoc. The architect warns Jin-Woo, "If I die, the system will collapse. No one will stop these dolls." But Jin-Woo, unfazed, replies, "What if I kill you and handle them myself?" A system glitch blocks the architect's final attempts to control the system. "I'm going to kill the system," Jin-Woo declares. "I'll swallow it whole." Final confrontation. In one swift motion, Jin-Woo slices through the architect with his daggers. As the pieces fall, the architect screams, "The monarchs will not stay silent after this." Jin-Woo, with an icy smile, simply replies, "Let them come." It had been about an hour since the Hunters Guild had gone in, and the tension outside the dungeon had grown heavier with each passing minute. The Bravery Guild remained on standby, their members growing increasingly impatient. Eyes remained fixed on the gate, hoping for any sign of movement. Then finally, the first glimpse of the returning hunters appeared. Yunho and Gunhee emerged from the gate, leading what remained of the Hunters Guild. Their faces were haggard, their bodies battered and bruised. Not a single smile among them. The Bravery Guild members stood frozen, overwhelmed by the devastation before them. It was hard to believe that such ruin had come from a C-rank dungeon. Gunhee stepped forward, his voice low but steady, as he addressed the Bravery Guild members, asking them to help carry out the bodies of the deceased. A moment later, Jin-Woo stepped out. He didn't speak. His eyes were distant, his mind lost in thought. The architect was gone, but so many questions still lingered in his head, questions the system hadn't answered. Gunhee walked up to him, his expression grim as he relayed the casualties. Nearly 20 top-ranked elite hunters had lost their lives inside the dungeon. He took a moment to acknowledge Jin-Woo's bravery, remarking that if this had escalated into a full-scale dungeon break, the devastation would have been beyond imagination. Jin-Woo listened silently before responding, his voice barely above a whisper, as he thanked the Hunters Guild and the Monitoring Division. He admitted that he wouldn't have made it out alive without their help. Gunhee, however, was puzzled. He looked at Jin-Woo curiously, asking how he even knew to investigate this specific gate in the first place. Jin-Woo met his gaze, eyes somber, as he revealed the truth. "The dungeon summoned me," he said. Gunhee blinked, trying to understand, but in the end he didn't question it further. The horrors he had witnessed were enough to make him believe anything. Before either could say more, Han approached them, her expression filled with concern. She asked if Jin-Woo was all right, her eyes scanning him for injuries. Jin-Woo offered a small nod, saying he was fine, just tired. But as the words left his mouth, his knees gave out from under him. He collapsed to the ground without warning. Gunhee and the other hunters rushed to his side, calling out his name in desperation, their voices filled with urgency as they tried to rouse him. Jin-Woo was urgently rushed to the hospital. Trucks moved quietly through the empty streets of Shinjuku, loaded with high-grade monocrystals. Their engines purred like whispers against the silence, unloading hundreds of thousands of tons of magical energy onto the desolate streets. The operation to contain the S-rank gate had officially begun. Overseeing it all stood Yuri Orlov, the formidable Russian S-rank hunter. Arms folded and expression stern, he surveyed the glowing stockpile. The quantity was staggering, more than enough to construct a magic barrier of unprecedented scale. Confidence laced every movement as he paced the perimeter, mentally drafting the massive magic circle he was about to engrave. Yet despite the perfection of his plan, something gnawed at him. Something didn't sit right. His instincts flared, warning him of a presence lurking nearby. He narrowed his eyes, scanning the shadowed streets in search of the disturbance. Without missing a beat, he called out, demanding that whoever was hiding reveal themselves. But the silence that followed only deepened the tension. The Japanese personnel standing nearby exchanged confused looks. One of them finally muttered that it was probably just nerves. Who would be foolish enough to linger near an active gate, especially with a dungeon break looming? But Yuri cut him off sharply. He clarified that he never said it was a person he sensed. What he felt was different. Something far beyond mere human presence. Something unnatural. And indeed, from atop a high-rise across the district, a hooded figure stood motionless. His gaze was locked on Yuri, eyes half hidden beneath the shadow of his hood. It was Sunil Hwan. He watched the preparations unfold, knowing full well that everything was falling into place, just as it had been destined. The tragedy that had been set, in motion, it was finally beginning to unfold. Back on the ground, the air around the gate had grown dense, humming with volatile energy. The Blade Guild's S-rank hunters stood at attention, weapons ready, nerves taut. They were strong, but even they knew they were facing something far worse than anything they'd seen before. Meanwhile, the man at the center of the mission, Yuri Orlov, brimmed with confidence. If everything followed his plan, he was certain he could handle the S-rank gate alone. He pictured himself going down in history as the hunter who cleared it single-handedly. Still, in the back of his mind, he acknowledged there was someone even more worthy of that recognition. Smirking, he brushed the thought aside and casually took a sip from his flask, asking how many S-rank hunters were currently on standby. The personnel informed him, only 15. Hardly the crowd Yuri had hoped for to witness the spectacle he was about to deliver. With mild curiosity, he asked whether the United States had dispatched any of their elite hunters to support Japan. But the response was clear. A new S-rank gate had opened in Maryland, with similar occurrences in England and India, leaving their top hunters stationed in their own countries. Just as the conversation continued, the personnel's expression shifted. His eyes widened in terror as he noticed something horrifying unfolding right in front of him. The dark barrier at the gate's entrance began to dissolve, cracking apart like shattered glass. An ominous silence fell over the area as hunters and military personnel turned their eyes toward the gate, only to freeze in place. What they saw defied all expectations. An unimaginable threat spilled into their world.